Hey guys, most likely if you're watching this video, you've received an illustration from me and I'm going to show you how to go through it. So real quick, this is what you should see, F&G Pathsetter Life Insurance illustration. Go to the left, scroll down to page 8. This is going to be where the magic happens. We got a 21-year-old. In the first year, they're 22 years old. They paid in $12,000 that year, or $1,000 a month. These three, it's going to be confusing. Look at all these numbers. I know. The first one is guaranteed assumptions. What does that mean? That means if the stock market crashes for 10, 20 years straight, this is what your account value is going to look like. So year one, you put in 12,000, you're about $4,000 short, and that's because these are front loaded in fees, versus a 401k, TSP, something like that is actually back loaded with fees. So whenever you do go to retire, you have a larger amount of money and they take a percentage off the top. So if you were to pay 1% on $1 million, that's $10,000. And if you have that under management for 10 years, that's $100,000 versus an IUL is front loaded the fees. We're only paying about, I say only about 4,000 this year. The next year, about 4,000. They slowly dwindle down to nearly nothing. I'll show you that in a minute. Your surrender value, a lot of people ask me, hey, what's that? It's really low. If you were to come in year one and you had a cash value of $8,000 and you're like, yeah, I want to cancel this policy, you're only going to walk away with $3,800. And the reason why is this is a contract. It is not a short-term get rich quick. This is a supplemental retirement plan. Now, the net death benefit, of course, is how much life insurance your policy is buying. And non-guaranteed assumptions fixed. This is just always in here. If you go with a fixed 4.75 index, it's going to return 4.75 every other year, which is not guaranteed. So guaranteed assumptions means the stock market crashes every year, 0.25%. We don't even worry about this column. We're going over to this column. This column, 6.91%. This is the Barclays Index 5 strategy. And you see account value year one is about $3,000 less. That's net of life insurance costs, because this is a life insurance policy. A little bit has to go to life insurance. You know that. Administration fees, premium fees, etc. And let's go down to year 10. You're 31 years old, 10 years after you started your policy. You put in 120,000 so far, so 12,000 a year for 10 years. Your account value is a little over 120,000. So about year 7 or 8, these policies start to be even after all the fees and everything. You are back at zero. That's because we're paying fees on the front end, and they're a lot less fees than a 401k or assets under management. And at that time, your net benefit's almost $1 million. So this 31-year-old has $130,000 in an account they have access to borrow from, and they have $1 million life insurance policy. So we'll go down to where we really want to go, and that's age 52. We picked this 21-year-old to retire at age 52. You can retire early with these policies because they're not subject to the 59 and a half rule, which means you can retire at any age as long as you put the money in to fund it. He's 31st year of the policy, age 52. He put in his last dollar. So far, he has contributed $372,000 to his policy. And his guaranteed assumption, that's if the market crashed for 31 years straight, he has $245,000. So he lost $130,000 to life insurance over those years. But if the market crashed for 30 years, we're not even going to be on this planet. Be eating each other and cats. So let's go over to our non-guaranteed, the Barclays we talked about. Our account value is $1.2 million. Our net death benefit is 2.2. So if he got to 52 and all of a sudden he's like, I'm gonna, live it up, retiring, I'm gonna jump out of airplanes, and he goes splat, $2.2 million goes to his family. And you notice here the surrender value is the same as the account value, because after about year 15, the surrender value is gone, which means however much money you put in, you could cancel the policy that day and take that money out, but it becomes taxable. As long as you leave it in the policy and the policy stays in force, it's not taxable. So here's what we wanted to see. Age 52, he put in a $372,000 total, and in 2 years of retirement, he's almost made his money back. In 9 years of retirement, he has pulled out $1.26 million tax free. So he's already quadrupled his money. Let's go down to, I think we have him retiring or finishing his retirement at age 82, hoping that he put some money back, or he just didn't take the whole $140,000 the whole time. We can extend this to age 100 to all the way to 121. But for this particular person, he doesn't plan on living past 82 years old. And if he does, he hopes he saved enough money that he doesn't have to pull the $140,000 out. But his account value is 9,717,000, but the surrender value is 158,000. Why is it so low? Because he had that much money built up in his account, but he pulled $4.2 million in loans. He had to pay back the loans and the interest upon death. So if he dies at age 82, the life insurance policy is going to be worth roughly $13 million, and it's going to pay back his loans, and it's going to pay back the interest, and it's a net death benefit, walk away with $644,000 for his family. So once again, if you didn't catch all that, we'll reiterate right quick. First year, age 22, that's his first year, $12,000. Here's his account value. It's growing throughout the years. Net death benefit and surrender value. You see year 15, the surrender value finally levels off. So if you wanted to walk away year 16, 17 and just take the tax hit, good. So that's it. If you're still here and you're still liking what you see, we'll go ahead and go down to page 12. And this is our indexes for this particular IUL. The Barclays Trailblazers Sector 5. That is what we use. That's what I like to use. The other are the S&P 500 and that 4.75 fixed rate we talked about. And we go down a little further. So talks about the crediting system. Gives a pretty in-depth overview of the Barclays here. That's page 15, if you want to read over that. And this is probably the most important page, I would say, page 16. So let's go over what these mean. The target pay is how much your insurance is going to cost on average. The minimum no lapse is how much you have to pay every month on this $1,000 a month policy. This person needs to pay $209.83 per month for the policy not to lapse. The other almost $1,000 is paid up additions, or $800 is paid up additions, which means it's going into this banking account that we're building. So $209 if you're in a recession, you lost your job, and you need to keep this going, but at the same time you can't afford the $1,000 a month. This is your payment. That's the most important number probably in this whole illustration, is do not miss that dollar amount. Guideline annual, 26,230. That means you cannot put over $26,230.50. If you put in 26,230.51 in 1 year, this policy will become a MEC, modified endowment contract. You can Google that if you'd like, but pretty much it just makes it taxable. We don't want that. We want this thing to be a tax-free cash cow. It's either going to replace our retirement policies or it's going to add to our 401k that we got to match on, et cetera, pensions. Historical performances, if you want to look over the last 20 years of what the Barclays and the other ones did, the indexes, charges and expenses. Your premium expense, 1,080 per year. And as you see, these expenses get less and less. The premium expense goes away when you stop paying premium. That's just how much it's going to cost for the company to process your payments, put it where it needs to go, make sure everything's working correctly. Your cost of insurance, $417. It actually gets higher, but since you're building more cash value quicker in the later years, you don't even feel this. The expense charge, people say, oh, they have high fees, high expense. The first 10 years, the expenses are normal. They're not very high at all, especially compared to 401k. But if you look down here, year 16, whenever the cash value levels off, our fees are practically nothing. $100 a year out of 12,000. Here's how much interest is earned every year, and that's based off of course, historical values. Past returns do not project future returns, so we need to know that. your account value every year, surrender value every year, net death benefit. Hopefully, I went over that well enough that you understand those columns. Mm, And last couple pages are pretty much just telling you about how we can transfer wealth because it's tax-free death benefit, and it's going to stay tax-free because the government doesn't want these policies to be taxable, and then the family lose half the money, and then once they go through the money that they did get net of taxes, they now have to be on welfare, Social Security, uh, SNAP, which is food stamps, etc. The tax deferred accumulation, the reason why it says tax deferred is because if you take withdrawals from your account, you are getting taxed. But if you take loans against your account, which if you're going over this, you already know everything about an IUL. We went over it either on TikTok, Instagram, email, something. You know that if you take loans against your account, it's tax free. Living benefits, really important. During your policy, uh, while you're alive, there's a critical, chronic, and terminal illness rider, which means uh, you get a heart attack, stroke, something like that, that puts you down critically, chronically, or terminally. They will pay up to 100% of the death benefit out up front. That way you can pay hospital bills, pay mortgages. You don't have to worry about the wife or the husband quitting their job to sit by your bedside. They can use this to pay the bills. So it really is peace of mind. It replaces long-term care, which is extremely important for the elderly. So if you've ever been around someone who's been in long-term care, it sucks their estate dry. They got to liquidate everything. Their family becomes broke and they're paying the bill forever. And accelerated death benefits, pretty much the same thing. Here's a chart for it. Okay. Hope this made sense. If not, send me an email and yell at me. Appreciate it.